So until we prove that we can break resistance, I can't turn bullish. The next sell in Bitcoin will come from issues like economic recession in the US, where we see the stock market collapse substantially, right? And so you're going to see another 25% down in the S&P 500, let's say in the second half of 2023. And that will just panic people into selling.
In today's video, Chief Market Strategist of InTheMoneyStocks.com Gareth Soloway tells us all about his latest analysis of the charts as well as his predictions and price targets for Bitcoin and Ethereum. He believes that we could possibly see Bitcoin's low in the coming months. Soloway shares his opinion regarding high inflation rates, the stock market, the crypto market, and the Fed.
Gareth, the last time you came on here, I want to say respectfully, I don't know if you respected the pump enough, because you said you were going short at about 28, I think it was about 28,000, am I right?
28,450, yeah.
Okay, how's that short going?
Out of the money by about $160 right now. So okay. I think we can all call that a flat trade right now.
Okay, but the question is, what are you going to do now? Like, it's all very well that your short's out of the money by $150, but what happens now?
Yeah, so for me, again, this is a chart where it just continues to chop sideways. Now, this could be consolidation. That's very possible, maybe even bullish consolidation. My issue still is that we still have not cleared this area here. So essentially, from the last time we talked, it was, can we get above 30,000 and can we stay above 30,000? As of now, we haven't. What we've been doing is basically playing pinball with this support here at around 26.7 and around 28.7. So look at how you're just jumping back and forth. And again, to me, this is just dead markets right now. I mean, there's not a lot going on. We're still waiting for that next bigger move to occur. And I think that's what's going to, be the determining factor here. Just a few days ago, we tested this 26,700 level, and it actually held. So I think that's a positive. You want to see that hold. You don't want to see a break of that consolidation pattern. So I guess for me, it's looking at this and saying, okay, guys, on the upside potential, I actually am leaning towards this, maybe making another move up here to the 30,000 level. In addition, I think we have to look at the 30,000 as being a very psychologically important level for the market, right? Think about the even number, think about where this was back in 2021 when the market collapsed in between the two bull market moves. And this is all around that 30,000 level. So listen, if you ask me where Bitcoin is in 2 years, I'd go long right now and I'd hold, right? So that's not an issue. I'm a huge long-term bull fan of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies in general. But the bottom line is that you haven't broken, right? So I'm someone who's like, show me the money, show me the levels, right? And the bottom line is if you look at this chart, we're right up against this level. So as much as my heart wants to say, okay, Bitcoin, race higher, as long as my gut says, oh, I hope it does, the charts are the ultimate arbiter of what I do, right? And right now we're still into resistance. So until we prove that we can break resistance, I can't turn bullish, right? It's all about probabilities. Probabilities are everything. And right now we're still into resistance. Basically, once we get above 30,000 and we close above 30,000, I'm waiting for a couple days to make sure that it stays there. And then my thesis says, okay, now the bottom has been proven that it is in on Bitcoin. All right. So I know that's what you want to get out of me. You want that so bad. And I'm willing to give it to you when the charts tell me that it's there. When it comes to trading in general, I don't focus too much on it, but it's interesting to watch, especially when we're going through a U.S. banking crisis and a European banking crisis. So it makes sense, right, that you have money from a banking sector where all of a sudden it reinforces why there's a need for cryptocurrency and specifically Bitcoin, that money is going to rotate into Bitcoin. And so it makes sense during a banking crisis that you're going to see Bitcoin dominance gain.
If you call up the BTC.D chart, tell me what would you see there? Because I think that's for us the most important chart.
Right off the bat, you definitely have, so there's a resistance point right here, right? So that's, look at where we currently are and look at where price is, right? It's right into resistance. So you're into resistance on the Bitcoin dominance chart right here. That's, again, that is a beautiful trend line. I actually haven't seen this one before. Just saw it as I was pulling this up. But that to me tells me that we're consolidating just underneath it. It's still resistance. Can it break out? That's going to be the big question. But right now it's into resistance. You would say, okay, it's due for a pullback until it breaks.
Dixie, let's go to the Dixie.
So this is important. This is an important chart because you had support right here. We bounced. We kind of went up just a little bit. And then look at now we're breaking that line. So assuming we close below here today and we confirm, then you got to think that you're having more downside on the Dixie, which would take us down to about your double bottom here at about 100.85 on the Dixie. So that this actually looks like it got the bounce. Now it's breaking to the downside on the chart, and you probably are headed lower on the Dixie.
Are you one of the believers that the world is going to start moving away from the dollar, that there's a real risk that the dollar is not going to be king anymore?
Yeah, so for years I've said that China wants to be the reserve currency of the world, and I think this is just one step in that direction. The biggest thing for me is that type of movement is going to take years to happen. So it is starting. You're absolutely right. It is starting 100%, but it's just going to take a while for it to actually gain traction. So this is, again, it's another reason to own gold. It's another reason to own Bitcoin on the long term. If you have that long-term outlook, then this is where you want to be. Absolutely.
Take me to the gold chart. Tell me what you think. Show me the trade. Give me the 3-month synopsis.
Well, listen, bottom line is this, it's just an alternative. It's one more way to protect yourself. So, I'm a big believer in diversification. I know you are too, right? You never put all your eggs in one basket. That's how we get in trouble. So again, you have some Bitcoin for the long term. You have a little gold for the long term. If you think about it, Bitcoin is still controllable by governments, and that's my biggest concern, right? So again, if I have my money in Coinbase and the government comes in and shuts down Coinbase and locks it down, how do I get my Bitcoin out, right? There are other ways, obviously, but with gold, if I have a physical piece of gold in my hand, I can go anywhere in the world with that gold and I can do what I got to do. So again, I think you have to just look at it and diversify across the board. Gold's chart has a short-term breakout. It's still headed for double top here. I think, again, you're going to see gold well above 2,100 by year end, maybe even 2,300.
Is there any way in the world that you get a scenario where gold goes up and Bitcoin goes down in the next 3 months? Like, would you say that right now it seems like Bitcoin is following gold? People want to be out of dollars, out of the US banking system. They want to be in something a bit safer. And it looks like there's a Bitcoin run. But you also told me that Bitcoin, you think, will be down in 3 months and gold will be up in 3 months. So yeah. How do you reconcile that?
So for me, it's more of looking at the equity markets. And I think the next sell in Bitcoin will come from issues like economic recession in the US, where we see the stock market collapse substantially, right? And so you're going to see another 25% down in the S&P 500, let's say in the second half of 2023. And that will just panic people into selling. Unfortunately, you're going to get this bleed through into other risk assets where Bitcoin also sells off when that does happen. And again, remember, you have margin, right? So people that are invested in stocks, they're going to get margin calls. They're going to say, oh, well, I don't want to sell my stocks and take that loss, so let me sell a little Bitcoin and bring that money into the stock portfolio. I think, honestly, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see kind of a secondary. It's not going to be Bitcoin related. It's not like Bitcoin has an issue. It's going to be more of a panic in the overall equity markets that will bleed into crypto.
So you're short Bitcoin, long gold, short US, short Dixie, and you are, I take it, short NASDAQ.
Correct,
short
yeah.
S&P, short NASDAQ.
Short S&P and NASDAQ right now, correct.